Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Good to quote unquote see you.
Absolutely. Good to quote unquote see you as well. It's been quite an interesting week. Bunny, what's going on?
What's happening, Black Picasso?
I'm good. I'm good. Yum, what's going on?
Listen, just taking babies every day. That's about it. Nothing exciting.
Amen. That's right. Gotta take.
I'm still on my Bitcoin windfall.
No worries. No worries. No worries. Absolutely. The windfall. It will. This. It's based on time, and or time will be on your side.
From your mouth to God's ear.
Absolutely. 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 I'm gonna pick a couple people into the room real quick. See who I can hear. 1 second. Hopefully everyone has had a good week. All right.
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Nice to see you.
I'm glad I made it today.
Absolutely happy to see you, and it's been one of those very strange weeks. Started off. I owe some folks some NFTs. I'll get some NFTs off to you guys here soon. Don't know. I'm heard. OpenSea got hacked.
No, you said.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. OpenSea got hacked. That's the big news of the day. OpenSea hack. So what's happened was a lot of I used to make things easy. I could do, lots of actions at one time. They shut it down because of the hack. They shut down a whole lot of tools. So the whole industry is kind of like frozen right now in a way, right? Because we're just a lot of people, moving a lot of NFTs. We're talking, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of NFTs were moving per day. And what happened now as a result of the hack, they kind of put that to a halt, because they wanted to make sure that they address this hack. And I'm not sure if they'll allow things to come back the way that it was, but stay tuned. This is strange times. Stranger things have happened, but it's definitely strange to see a hack. It wasn't millions of dollars, right? But um, it wasn't millions of dollars, but it definitely was, a significant amount. The person who they targeted for the hack said that they probably sold over $1 million worth of the stolen NFTs. And all I got to say is, how much is when you think about the damage, all you need is 1 million in order to know that the damage is significant, right? Um, so just really thinking about what's going on in the space, anything that kind of shakes confidence is something to really pay attention to for sure. So what's going on?
Everything is good. Hello to everyone in the room. And I just want to say that I was speaking with an older woman this past weekend, and um, she was she was she had gone through a hard life of trauma and drugs, and she said that one quote that really inspired her to get her life together was Jeremiah 29:11, and it's for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope. That really pulled her through. So for anyone in the room, I hope that provides you some inspiration as well, because it really touched my heart when she shared that with me.
Absolutely. That's what we need in these times. We need some inspiration. What you saying is true. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, absolutely.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so that's the news of the week. And the other thing is that, I mean, as you guys all know, we're a nation at war right now. And I mean, at least on the brink of war, Russia is threatening Ukraine. Don't know if they've actually, started this engagement closely, but I'm sure it's close. And so it's real uncertain. The markets are definitely going to respond to that, and so stay tuned for that. It's real strange times. There was a FUD that was being spread weeks ago talking about Russia is Russia's kind of disrupt markets, but that FUD because Russia itself is decentralized cryptocurrency, and they want everything to be centralized. They don't want anything that's named decentralized to be part of the fabric of our everyday lives. So it's very interesting to see where we are right now. But one more is that when it comes to cryptocurrency, they're and when we think about centralized control, a lot of folks don't really understand what the use case is for cryptocurrency, right? So when we think about cryptocurrency, Big Sean's in the room. What's going on, Sean? Um, Big Bull is in the room. What's going on? How's everybody else doing in the room? Nice to see everybody. Yep. Hey, how you doing, Giselle? Young, everybody. Absolutely.
I just want to say, I know like it is scary when you hear about war in Russia and all that stuff, and when Bitcoin goes down, a lot of people get really scared. I feel horrible saying this, but man, I get excited when I can buy more.
Say no more. No, absolutely. No, I totally agree. And here's the thing. As I said, anything below 40 is definitely a blessing. And not that I want it. It's not going to be depressed for long periods of time. Again, you know, what one thing that I know when I look at the aftermarket where people can buy and sell Bitcoin, one thing that's happening, and it's happening very frequently, there's a lot of entities that want exposure. They want exposure to this Apex asset, and these hedge funds, they are getting their war chests ready. They want to stack up, and when I see that, that appetite to be ready to consume, it's exciting. And so everybody is waiting. As of February 6th, the spot ETF is still on hold. January 6th is on hold. It's been 8 years that the request for a spot ETF be put through, over 8 years, and we're still waiting. And the question always is, will it ever happen? And for those who are newbies and don't really understand what I'm saying in terms of the conversation, um, we're talking about the way that wealth will find easy on ramps to the Bitcoin blockchain. So in terms of how wealth is going to translate into Bitcoin growth, the ETF is going to allow regulated paths so that the entities, or the actual ETFs, the exchange traded funds will have to buy Bitcoin, sell it through, instead of someone having to go and hold a ledger in cold storage, they can call their broker, buy me, that ETF, and make it easier for them to have on going to be a major on ramp where is that our wealth that's waiting on the sidelines will be able to have ramps easy on to Bitcoin. Allowing this disruptive innovation to really move forward is really interesting because is one thing for is that a number of different entities. Lucrece, what's going on? A number of different entities want exposure, to want to get exposure, but they necessarily go through, and go through so that they can buy lots of Bitcoin, or they buy private sale. They'll trade it between, private parties who want exposure. As I said, the appetite for consumption is people want to get in but crack six figures. So, to get in but crack six figures. So, people happen, again, as things happen, in the time of war, one thing is for sure, all of the socialist countries, they don't want to see cryptocurrency is financial freedom. Now, there's sides to financial freedom. One side of financial freedom allows you to have to buy things that you want to buy. The other thing that's the other, you have to be careful what you buy because of these cryptocurrencies are not worth. They're not worth, you spend earn, especially those who are trading time for money. When you need time for money, that dollar wants to trade their hard-earned dollar and get exposure to something that is essentially, so, there's no backing behind it may very well, not be able, um, not be able to back up, the strategy they're employing in terms of implementing and growing the use of their particular project, their coin, their token, cryptocurrency we're talking about, their coin, their token, or whatever cryptocurrency we're talking about, right? And so there's Bitcoin, which is the apex. That's the first, the crash of the subprime mortgage crisis with the banks. Satoshi Nakamoto at that point essentially created Bitcoin as kind of like a white paper, kind of a theory, and shortly thereafter started to launch some of the code and essentially teach people how to go out and create the infrastructure to allow this apex, I had the ability to start mining. I didn't even know what it was in the very beginning. I thought it was purely an academic experiment. Much of them out there. So you jump to one, you jump into the next one, and so I was fortunate to get in that early, just to have that exposure. I definitely consider myself to be very blessed in that regard. Mining Bitcoin is a way for you to get exposure to Bitcoin. Wasn't specialized equipment. Today, you need not only specialized equipment that costs thousands of dollars each, but you need lots of electricity. And so you can spend lots of electricity. And if you buy an older machine, you could lose money on that machine, right? You could be running a machine getting Bitcoin, but that's not even generating enough profit to pay your electricity bill. So it's one of those things where you have to kind of know and calculate the cost, right? So if you don't calculate the cost ahead of time and don't have enough scale to cover your expenses, it's definitely not something for the faint of heart, right? You really want, definitely not the best way to get exposure unless you have lots of resources or you want to be part of a large project. And that's where, getting into some of these also or funds that you can look into if you want to get some exposure to, this whole crypto need to be more. So you might will stack those satoshis. That's the term to increase your portfolio. Sure. That's the long one any further at this time.
Not a question, but first, I love you, so thank you so much. I love coming in. I wanted to know if you heard or read the letter wrote to the Supreme Court of Justice. The Ontario Superior Justice asked self-custody wallet provider Nunchuck to disclose user information. Please use as Bitcoin. This is their response. Dear Ontario Superior, self-collaborative multi-sig Bitcoin wallet with software provided custodial financial intermediary. Our software is free to use all day long.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. 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 And that goes to a very important, so much, April, that that is this. And a lot of people when they understand Bitcoin. So for newbies, let me just reiterate the three top characteristics of Bitcoin. Bitcoin, because it was the first, it's the largest. But one, it cannot be copied. When I say it can't be copied, number two, it can't be based upon the fact that it's based on the blockchain. Now, the block has been tested. So if you let me just explain this again. That's why people who try to steal other people's cryptocurrency, or those thieves try to get paid in Bitcoin, think that they can get away. Um, the evidence of their crime will always so it doesn't it's technology, right? Long short, um, it's our tend to have your tax ID so that eventually, and I believe it's by 20 will be required to not only report all your activity, but essentially be highly monitored at that point. Um, However, that's to the exchanges. Remember, you can get access to cryptocurrencies a number of different ways. You know, they were waiting on those leaders to to, to do the right thing.